Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sports Desk with Ryan Potts and Jack Mitchell. I'm Ryan Potts, otherwise known as Splash. You can find me on social media at Mr. Splash May 19 on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm on the UCAM app as Splash. I'm not some random troll account, folks. I don't do that. I guess I'm also on the app. Yeah, I guess I guess I use app Pollmaster too, but that's for the good of the app. So you can find Jack on UStadium as Jack Mitchell. Not Mitchell Jack, not with eyes, or I guess there's the one eye in your name, but it's not like Mitchell IL. Yeah. And on Instagram is Jack_Mitchell_01. How's it going, Jack?
This is I caught Splash listening to something funny. It was just some funny song before we went live, man. So we had a good laugh. And then all hell broke loose in the NFL world this morning. So that was fun.
It did. I woke up. Both of us are West Coasters, so we woke up as you do. I woke up 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm just like, okay, normal Friday morning. Got to do some homework. Get some Chinese out there and done, and then boom. I need to get my buddy Ryan to grab that clip. But Miami, Brian Flores. What a big day for the Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins traded the 3rd overall pick to the San Francisco freaking 49ers in exchange for the 2021 12th overall pick, a 2021 3rd-round pick, and 2 first-rounders in 2022. Miami, that's stacked. That is a lot of draft capital.
But they didn't stop there. No. Brian Flores said, Give me more. So he called up Mr. Howie Roseman up in Philadelphia. He said, yo, Howie, I know you guys I know you don't want to be in the market for a quarterback. You want to trade down, don't you? Well, we just got this, first-round pick from San Francisco, and we're going to send it over to you. So you're going to give us the number 6 pick, and we're going to trade you 12. So you can still probably get Jamar Chase or Waddle or someone at 12 that you like. But we're going to get the number 6 pick. And Howie Roseman, of course, doesn't know how to GM football anymore, I guess. So he accepted the trade. Brian Flores, I think he needs to charge his Xbox controller tonight.
God. That trade is the 6th overall and 156th pick to Miami in exchange for 12 and 123 and a first rounder in 2022. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Miami
is just, it looks great. It looks great.
You slide down 3 slots, you get an extra first round pick. But I do think it's a win-win-win trade. I made the joke about Howie Roseman. Howie knows what he's doing. Of course, John Lynch knows what he's doing. I'm going to talk about it with Raj tomorrow on the show. But San Francisco can get their guy at 3, probably Justin Fields. We may or may not have Jets fans coming on later to I don't think I can say the words they say about Zach Wilson. But San Francisco will get their guy at 3. Miami adds an extra first-round pick, trades down 3 spots.
I would have to feel like the Jets and the 49ers, they have a really, I know their coaching staffs and everything are kind of close because obviously Robert Saleh was he was their defensive coordinator before getting hired as the head coach of the Jets. So kind of makes me feel like the Niners knew what the Jets are doing.
Smart.
So after his pro day today, I feel like it's almost a guarantee that the Jets are going to take Zach Wilson at 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And then Miami trades down essentially 3 spots. They get an extra first so that they're loaded moving forward. And then Philadelphia, say what you will, they slide down to 12. They can probably get who they're going to draft at 6 at 12. And if they don't get, say, exactly Jamar Chase or exactly Devontae Smith, they're going to have someone there that they could have taken at 6, whether that's Surtain or, as I mentioned, Chase, Smith, Pitts, Waddle. this is a very good draft class to trade down 6 slots because you get the extra first-round pick next year. And I think, like, as much as I love what Miami did, Philadelphia is the secret winner of this trade because next year you're probably going to have a first-round pick. If Wentz plays 75% of the season or 70% and Indianapolis makes the playoffs, either of those pretty likely to happen. You have your own pick, which is probably going to be – this is the Jalen Hurts question. If Jalen Hurts is really good at football and the Eagles aren't like a top 10 team, you have 3 first-round picks. You can take 3 star players, 3 really.
You can absolutely build around them with those picks.
Like I'm gonna add a little bit here, but I'll in a second. But let's say Hurts sucks. Let's just hypothetically, right? He's just trash. Well, guess what? You're going to have a top draft pick because you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You're going to have another first, I believe, from San Francisco, right? The one that from Miami, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to have the Colts pick. Now, yes, the San Francisco and Indianapolis picks aren't going to be very high, and especially if the Colts make the playoffs, because that's one of the caveats with the Wentz conditional pick. If they make the playoffs, it's not going to be very high. But you have 2 of them. This is like the Jamal Adams trade and the Jalen Ramsey trade were 1 each, right?
Basically,
Philadelphia has 2 in the same draft. That is a lot of draft capital. This is somewhere you can move from 4 to 2, and you're not having to destroy the next 5 draft classes.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
But here's the thing. Let's say the Eagles have a perfectly fine year. Let's just say they're middle of the pack. They go like 7-9 or something. Not the end of the world. And then San Francisco makes the playoffs. They're one of the best teams in the league. Let's say for the sake of argument, they go to the NFC title game. And let's say for the sake of argument, the Colts go to the AFC title game. So you're going to get a mid-round pick, 29 and 30, right? Is that fair? Do you think that could happen? Fair. All right. So mid-round pick, 29-30. Well, guess what? In the 2018 NFL draft, the number 17 pick was an all-pro named Derwin James. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? The 32nd pick of the first round, who you can draft at 29, MVP of the league, Lamar Jackson. 35th pick, 2-time Pro Bowler, Nick Chubb. 36th pick, 2-time All-Pro, Darius Leonard. 40th pick, Cortland Sutton, Pro Bowler.
It just kind of goes to show you that you can draft anyone anywhere in the first round, or really anywhere too. Like it doesn't even have to be a first round pick. We've seen some really big gems come out of the later rounds, like second round, third. I think Cooper Kupp was a 3rd round pick. Josh Reynolds, I think, was a 3rd round pick. Cam Akers, going back to last year. I'm staying biased a little bit here, but these are the ones I remember the most, honestly.
Pick, right? Second. No, he was a 3rd.
Cam Akers was 2nd.
Van was a 2nd. Did he get both Van and Akers in the same round?
Same round. Both were 2nd overall picks. First overall picks, 2nd round picks.
Okay, that works. But, I mean, this is the kind of thing that we've talked about on the show, that the Rams are going to be very good and they don't have any first-round picks. The Eagles have a guy they think can be a good quarterback, and then they have 3 first-round picks. So if he's not, you're not screwing up multiple drafts. You're saying, okay, we're going to punt 2022. We're going to trade up, draft Howell, draft Slovis, draft. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really looked at the 2022 quarterback classes because my guy is a former MVP. So I'm just going to chill out a little bit there. But I'm sure you're not looking at quarterbacks to be a freaking Matthew Stafford.
Which we will get to, by the way. We'll talk about Stafford in a little bit.
Jack has a little rant for us today. So exciting day. Miami wheeling and dealing. San Francisco ends up in a good spot. Philly ends up in a good spot. I'm excited for all 3 teams. You know, a lot of it's going to focus on Miami. Oh, how did Philly get fleeced, or how did San Francisco get fleeced? No. It's maybe Miami won both trades by a little bit, but San Francisco got what they wanted. Philly got what they wanted. So, it happens.
And I mean, Miami is like just set right now. I feel like because if Tua is the guy, they can build around him like crazy. And if he's not the guy, it's basically like what you just said with Philly. Like they can wait out. How long is this deal right now? He has like the
Hurts deal.
The Tua.
Tua. So he rookie signed a 4-year deal. So he will be a Miami Dolphin. His last year is 2023. 5th year option would be 2024.
Okay. So maybe that's a little bit too far, but like they can get pieces to build around him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They can really make him a much better player.
Absolutely.
They can give him a good supporting cast, and if he doesn't work out, they're not. I don't think they're screwed yet.
No, and remember they stole the number 18 pick, so you have 6. You're going to get your pick, right? You're going to get. We'll do a mock draft in a little bit, but you're going to get a guy you want at 6, who you could have gotten at 3, but now you have an extra first-round pick moving forward. And then, guess what? You can still take a star tackle at 18. You can get a Tevin Jenkins at right tackle, slide Hunt into guard. You can get a star left tackle, move Jackson over to right tackle, kick Hunt into guard. Okay. I'm having troubles today. It's okay. You can get 2 star players in this draft if you're Miami and get a star next year, with your pick and with the San Francisco. Well, I guess they no longer have that San Francisco pick. They have a future pick from San Francisco, right? But Philly has the one from next year.
Yeah.
So exciting times if you're really a fan of any of those teams.
I think the only team we haven't really mentioned too much is the 49ers, but it looks like Justin Fields is probably going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole they said or I don't think it was specified who said it, but it was a source from within the 49ers organization saying Jimmy Garoppolo is their QB for 2021.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're lying.
Okay. Hear me out. I know the guys on the main show were like, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go to the New England Patriots. I don't see that happening. I still support Cam, and I think Belichick likes Cam a lot. And this is one of the things you don't notice when you watch the game, but when you dig in and you really look at what Cam's done in his career, and you really look at what Belichick's done in his career, Belichick loves intelligent players. If you can play, great, but if you're smart, you can fill a role. Belichick loves you. Cam is a guy who is as smart of a quarterback as there is in the NFL. The only guys I would take over Cam, like in terms of pure football IQ, are like Brady and Peyton. That's it. That's it. That's it.
No wonder Peyton has such a big forehead.
That was a good one. Cam is as smart of a quarterback as there is in the NFL. And I think Belichick knows that. Belichick also knows that Cam isn't necessarily like super Cam anymore. He's not going to make every single throw. He's not going to do this, that, the other. But you know what he is going to do? He's going to take the yards when he needs to take the yards.
And that's probably part of the reason why Belichick went on such a crazy spending spree in free agency to get guys like Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Kyle Van Noy came back. I mean, he has a supporting cast.
Yeah, and this is a thing that, say what you will about Cam's physical attributes. Mentally, he's all there. Mentally, he is as sharp as it comes. And you can say, oh, well, he's not going to Sammy Watkins a Raven? Sammy Watkins is a Raven. Okay.
Sammy Watkins. Breaking news via Mr. Schefter. I was actually wondering, have we ever had a breaking news happen before on the show? There you go. That's number 1 right there.
Hey, good stuff, Ravens. I was actually in the AFC North group chat yesterday, and they told me that actually, Jack, I'm going to ask you a question. You are allowed to have one receiver. Pick between Willie Snead and Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins.
I think that's the obvious answer, right?
Yeah, that's really obvious.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. If you I get it. Willie Snead was nice, and he had. Oh, they said he was more productive, but Snead was more productive than Watkins. He had 11 more yards in 3 extra games, and Watkins is playing with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Just won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I mean, I feel like you should like this. Sammy Watkins is really good. He's really good.
I like it. I know he's not necessarily the guy that I really wanted. I've said my list of 6 receivers I would have preferred several times, and this probably means there's no chance you're trading for Allen Robinson, which sucks. But it's fine. I think Baltimore at least addressed it. They went out, they went after Juju. They went after T.Y. Hilton. Neither of those deals went through. And
Yeah.
I understand it. They're both going back to their teams that they've been with their entire careers. I get it. So,
But
I think,
I do respect that they're trying to
yeah.
get the issue fixed. They're paying attention to it. They're not just ignoring
And then
something
they'll
that the team
probably
needs.
draft someone. And I think here's the thing: when people make power rankings, I make power rankings. Often it's hard to distinguish like gaps in the power rankings. This can apply to receiver rankings. This can apply like when I say Tyreek Hill is the best receiver in the NFL. I'm not saying everyone else sucks. I'm saying he's a tiny bit better than Devontae Adams, right? Or DeAndre Hopkins. Pick your guy. So this is a case that while the Ravens probably still have one of the worst wide receiver cores in the NFL, it's currently you're probably wide receiver 1 is Sammy Watkins, your slot is Devin Duvernay, and your wide receiver 2 is Hollywood Brown. Brown and Watkins, whatever, swap back and forth. Hollywood's the deep threat. Watkins is really a deep threat, but I think his skill set can translate to other like a more possession guy, more over the middle guy, more like 3rd and 6 you need a catch. That's either Duvernay or Watkins at this point. So while Baltimore probably has one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL, it's not as bad as it was. And say what you will about Willie Snead, but what people forget is that even if Willie Snead is a better football player than Sammy Watkins, I disagree. But even if that's true, Devin Duvernay is getting better. So at one spot you have the same Marquise Brown. He's probably going to get better. He is one of the best playoff performing wide receivers we have in the NFL, and he kills the division. So if you had a guy that only plays well for 8 games a year, it's the 6 division games and 2 playoff games. You have at the max a slight drop off from Snead to Watkins. Then Duvernay improves a little bit. So again, it may still suck. It may be wide receiver group number 32, wide receiver group number 31. I'm going to read it all off season. I'm going to agree with it. That's the thing. I agree with it. But at a certain point, it's better than it was last year. I actually don't remember who the Ravens are bringing in as like passing game coordinator, wide receiver guy, because David Culley's now in Houston. But I think Baltimore can have a steady offensive season. You're going to have the rushing game. That's always very good. Lamar's all the way back from COVID. Mark Andrews hopefully it's not going to get COVID during the middle of the season. And I think the Ravens can be a little bit better passing offense than they were in 2020. I'm not saying they're going to be great. I'm not saying they're going to be average. I'm just saying they're going to be 20th in yards per pass. They were 21st last year. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. There's my mellow rant of the day.
Yeah, your mellow rant. My mellow rant's going to come a little later. But I think that breaking news signing is a good segue into free agency because there were a lot of moves that happened lately between the last show and this one. After we got off last week, the Eagles signed Anthony Harris. I think was the first one that came up.
Yes, Anthony Harris. Love Anthony Harris. 1 year, $5 million deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was one of PFF's highest graded guys available. He was one of our highest graded guys available with Nick and Frankie's list. He's a darn good player. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think both of us were agreeing that he needed to be signed as soon as he possibly could. So good pickup for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Speaking of the NFC East, Kenny Golladay and Adoree Jackson to the Giants. They look good. They look really good.
Yeah, love Golladay, love Jackson. Two key signings at key positions. Wide receiver core, and it's one of those like the strong get stronger. Like the Giants had a pretty solid wide receiver core, all things considered, and a pretty solid cornerback core, all things considered. Like those aren't the weak spots of the team.
The Giants' defense, I feel like, was really underrated. Like they did stall out a little bit.
They played over their head last year.
Yeah. Like the offense stalled out obviously a little bit. We kind of knew what happened there with New York, but Adoree Jackson, I feel like, is a huge pickup when the Giants are getting the pieces that they need. And who knows, maybe they could make a run at the Washington football team for the division next year. Malcolm Butler to the Arizona Cardinals. What do you think of that one?
He's hasn't had his best years with the Titans or his last year or two in New England wasn't great. In Arizona, he's kind of the Patrick Peterson replacement. Does Patrick Peterson have a team?
I don't know. I think he went to Minnesota, I want to say.
I think you're right. So
I don't know.
I don't think Butler's that good. I think Butler's probably just like the placeholder, and then you draft J.C. Horn. You let him like be the third, like your nickel corner for a year. And then, hey, you have Byron Murphy, who came on really strong in year 2, and then J.C. Horn, who, I think Horn and Murphy can be a good pair. And I think Butler can be good enough to be like not the worst cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't think it's like a strength for Arizona, but it can be, if you draft J.C. Horn at 16 or Farley or Surtain at 16, although I don't think Surtain drops that far. It's a situation that you didn't get worse. It's like Baltimore. You like Peterson and Peterson and Butler are same tier guys. Watkins and Snead are same tier guys. I don't think you're getting worse by swapping.
Sure. I was right about Patrick Peterson, by the way. He is on the Vikings. The Cleveland Browns, they did not make the signing yet, but they hosted Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not too familiar with the Browns pass rush.
It's Myles Garrett and nothing.
Yeah, Myles Garrett.
Olivier Vernon's all right. I think he is no longer on the roster, though. I could be wrong. Let me look it up.
This seems like one of an Arizona J.J. Watt type deal where you have pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Do you necessarily? Yeah. If you do sign Clowney, it could help. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't hate it though. Obviously, it's not a downgrade if you sign Clowney. He's been. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's kind of stalled out a little bit as of late, but I still think Clowney's up there.
It's a little weird with Clowney. He's, when like Frankie or Nick would push the like really high talent, really low production, really high name value. I think Clowney's one of the guys that he has bigger name value than like his casual production. So sure. He's like viewed as a superstar, but casuals will be like, oh, well, he only has like 1.5 sacks or whatever. But he's really good in run defense, and people don't like. I don't think a lot of people acknowledge that he's a really great run defender most of the time, and that's like he can be. It's like the Clelin Ferrell thing in Vegas that he's a bust because he's a number 4 pick, but he's not necessarily a bad player. Clowney's probably a bust as a number 1 pick because he's not J.J. Watt. But
he was taken in the same draft as Aaron Donald. I'm just going to leave it there, I think.
And Khalil Mack.
Taken in the same. Yeah. I can agree with that, though. I think he has bigger name value than his production on the field. I have seen personally, though, 2017, the Rams played the Texans when Clowney was still on there. Mm-hmm. That was a weird-ass game. Tom Savage was playing QB for the Texans. Yeah, that was a weird game, but this was elite Todd Gurley. Mm-hmm. And he was getting completely stuffed by Clowney, so.
Yeah, solid. And I guess you're glad to see Matt Stafford as your quarterback now.
Absolutely.
Before we running back.
Also kind of glad to see our last signing here. The Rams get Deshaun Jackson for a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm. I think it works. It might be a kick the Van Jefferson can down a year. So you get Woods and Kupp like dominant duo together. You get Djax as like a deep threat with Deshaun Jackson, and then you let Van Jefferson like grow another year, route running another year. So
under Stafford too, it's an upgrade. I just want to put on the record, by the way, I'm pretty sure not Stafford, D-Jack said that this was sort of like the beginning of the end of his career or something along those lines. He said this is a good place to end his career, to come home. And he said he sees this as like a LeBron type situation where he comes to Cleveland and wins them a title. So, I like the sound of it.
Jackson and I'm okay. I'm intrigued. So I'm just scrolling through the U Stadium app, and the Ravens signing Sammy Watkins, and the first comment is favorites to win the AFC now.
Favorites to win the AFC.
Oh my lord, people are stupid. I don't want to put him on blast, but holy crap. Anyways, let's transition.
Can I talk about Stafford now?
Yeah, let's go on your little rant here.
Yeah, it's not really necessarily a rant. It's just information. A lot of information came out a couple of days ago about the Goff. How it was sort of like an article from ESPN about how the Goff and McVay relationship sort of deteriorated over the last few weeks of the season. Sean McVay was a guy who he's basically known for he takes a lot of the blame. Like when I'm sure you can attest to this too. Like when the Rams lose a game they shouldn't have lost, like against like the Bills or something. I wouldn't say they shouldn't have lost the Bills. The Jets, I think, is a better example, even though this happened after the game in question. Week 12, when the Rams lost by a field goal, Goff was having an abysmal game. He kept turning it over like crazy. The defense was able to bring the Rams back into the game. And then I remember Cam Akers going for like a monster run near the end of it. It got the game tied, but then the San Francisco 49ers won by a field goal. And for the first time, I think ever, Sean McVay was starting to put the blame on Jared Goff publicly. He stopped blaming himself. He stopped. He stopped saying that. Oh, I need to do better. I need to come up with a better game plan. And the reason he was saying stuff like this is because apparently it got to the point where Goff was just so struggling, like he'd stalled out. Like he was okay, I would say, under his first year, but that was with Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher goes, McVay comes in, Goff is starting to climb. Like he's getting better and better and better. And then 2019 comes and he kind of like flattens out, like he stalls out. And this ESPN article, it kind of credits the Patriots for that and Brian Flores and Bill Belichick at the Super Bowl. And it says the NFL, I'm sure you can agree with this too, the NFL, the ultimate copycat league is what it says.
Right.
And a lot of teams just kind of saw, oh, this is how you beat Sean McVay. And they start employing the system the Patriots are using throughout 2019, and it's just not getting better. And, you know, things changed. Things really did change. I'm looking through this just to make sure I don't misquote anything. There was just a lot. There was a lot of consistency problems with Goff, I would say, throughout 2019 as well. Although 2019, the offensive line, I was blaming the offensive line like crazy. I thought the offensive line sucked. Yeah. A lot of injuries.
Those conversations with Holden.
Yeah. Holden, shout out to you. I know we were both very pissed about the offensive line. And I think that was definitely, part of the reason. But looking back, I think Goff definitely had his issues. And I mean, you're just losing so many games because of this consistency issues. Like McVay, eventually it got to the point where Sean McVay just kind of felt like he had to micromanage Jared Goff. Like he had to plan. I think this is why he was blaming himself too, because he had to put together like a perfect game plan for Jared Goff, or else Goff would suck. And it eventually got to that point where that Week 12 game I mentioned, where McVay was basically calling him out, like yelling at him in front of the locker room, in the locker room in front of the players. There were shouting matches on the sideline that were happening. And like there was just growing frustration, there was growing tension, and it just got to the point where I think Sean McVay just got completely sick and tired of Jared Goff just making these dumb mistakes. And the way things finally broke down is when Goff got hurt, and in comes John Wolford. And suddenly everyone gets a huge taste of how Sean McVay's offense could play under a more, I don't want to say smarter QB, but he was making better decisions than Jared Goff was. Like he threw his first play of the game, he threw a pick, and then he just bounced back from there. I think John Wolford played a really good game, and then it's just you see what happens now that you get a quarterback like who has like a better understanding of the game. He reads the field better. He makes better decisions in like split second decisions. He does that better than Goff does. He's mobile too. I don't think Stafford's more mobile than Goff, I would say.
That's true.
He's got.
There's, I think, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but there's like levels to mobility as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like there's the Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, what we expect Justin Fields to be, like legitimate rushing threats. You can have a quarterback, like quarterback power is in your playbook, for example. Read option, veer are in your playbook. Stafford's not quite on that tier, and he's not quite on the Mahomes, Wilson, that they scramble and get yards tier, right? Watson as well.
Right.
But he's on that third tier of he's not a statue. He can it's that Aaron Rodgers. You see, he is an incredible athlete.
If you can pull up the Goff when Quandre Diggs picked him off in week 16.
Okay.
That's basically kind of like a play that it was kind of like a microcosm of this whole thing. Jared Goff, he called it one of the worst plays of his career. You'll see in this play if we get it up that he makes a stupid split-second decision.
Well, he had 20 dropped interceptions. I have that page up. Oh, here we go. Let me hopefully pull this up and lag. Okay, we are in.
Yeah, I get to witness this pain all over again.
Oh boy. Okay. This is too difficult to do. Chrome.
Bear with us.
Section. Here we are.
Bear with us. And if you're a Detroit Lions fan, please look away now.
Haha. Here we are.
Perfect. Watch what he does. This split-second decision, just running out of bounds, right? Who is he throwing to?
Quandre Diggs.
Who is he throwing to? Like, what are you doing?
That was pretty bad. That
was disgusting. Like, oh god, like you're getting the pressure. You're forced to run it out of bounds. Just run it out of bounds. It's better than making a split-second decision to throw the ball away, not take a sack. You at least gain yards if you run it out of bounds versus you try to force the big
throw
play.
It out of bounds. If you just throw it a mile out of bounds, who cares? But if you throw it to the other team, that's a problem.
That he literally just threw it to 5 Seahawks there. Like there was no one anywhere near him. Like what? That was terrible. And like that's the kind of thing Goff does versus Stafford, and that's what was making Sean McVay so frustrated because that's not Sean McVay's problem. People who are thinking like, Sean McVay has to design a better play or a better system for him. That's not a Sean McVay problem when Goff makes a decision like that.
No, not in the slightest. But you know what? It is a Sean McVay issue. The guys the Rams will draft, and they'll be in the McVay system. At least offensively. Yeah. So we're going to transition into some NFL draft.
We will. I want to mention one last thing really quick. This is going to take like 2 seconds. After they traded for Stafford, McVay said that him and Goff communicated post-trade and kind of talked things out because they were frustrated with each other, sort of. And then they kind of talked things out and had some healthy conversations. Goff apparently told the LA Times that did not happen. That's a little juicy to me. So
interesting.
The Rams do play the Lions this year, so that's going to be a fun one.
I mean, you probably win that game, so it will be a fun one.
I would say so, but we'll see. We lost to the Jets last year, so you never know.
Anything can happen.
Finally, we can move on now. That's the end of my little spiel.
All right, so boys and girls, we're about a month away from the NFL draft. It is exciting times. It is exciting times. So
You can taste it.
we got it loaded up here, boys and girls. All 32 first-round picks. We got some trades. But, I mean, I am a broke college student, so obviously I didn't buy the Draft Network Premium. But here we got it. We got San Francisco with the number 3 pick. We got Miami with the 6th pick. We got Philadelphia with the 12th pick. Bada bing, bada boom, we're there. So with the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft, like it's been for the last 10 years, Trevor Lawrence, quarterback.
Who?
Lawrence Trevor.
I'm teasing.
All right. The New York Football Jets will take Zach Wilson. That seems the likely pick now.
Yeah.
You know, he had a great pro day today, and I would be surprised.
It would be a shock for sure if the Jets didn't
San
take
Francisco with the decision.
By the way, I love how we're getting an ad for StreamYard in the middle of this.
Yes, I agree.
Shout out to StreamYard. We're not sponsored, but
ads by Google. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so the number 3 pick, San Francisco is an interesting situation that they probably should take a quarterback. You don't really trade up 9 slots and trade several first-round picks to not get a quarterback.
I know.
We have Lance, we have Fields, we have Mac Jones, but I think they're obviously going to take Ian Book, but I'm joking. So Lance, Fields, Jones. I've heard they like Jones. I've been all offseason pounding the table, trying to draft Trey Lance. You take Justin Fields. You take Justin Fields.
Yeah, I would say you take Justin Fields.
John Lynch. Look, you draft Justin Fields.
Yeah, like this is if Justin Fields didn't, or not Justin Fields, if Zach Wilson didn't just have one of the most insane pro days I think anyone's ever seen in a while, then yeah, I think that there would be a little bit more debate versus that. But I think after the pro day, I really don't think there's any other choice.
No, not at all. I've talked to like Adam on the app. He's a big Fields fan, and I think most Jets fans want Wilson. And I think to me, it's a 2A, 2B thing that, in all honesty, the one that goes to San Francisco is going to be better. I think they're that close that I trust Kyle Shanahan a little bit more than Mike LaFleur up in East Rutherford, the green side of East Rutherford. But I think both of them are going to be very good quarterbacks. I think the one that goes to San Francisco is going to be a little bit better. Early on, he's throwing to George Kittle, and he's running the Shanahan system, and he's getting to hand the ball off to guys that are going to have 17 yards carry. But moving swiftly on here, the Atlanta Falcons. If I had access to trades, I'd think about a trade here because you have Trey Lance here. You have, say, Detroit at 7. They might want to trade for a quarterback. Carolina would be an interdivision trade, so I don't think Atlanta does that. Denver, probably not. But I would have the Lions trading up to draft Trey Lance. The Falcons, it's an interesting pick to take Trey Lance, but I think deep down, they think their organization can compete for.
I like the Trey Lance thing for the Detroit. You take him, you develop him for a couple of years. If Goff doesn't work out, which he's probably not gonna, but we'll see. But that's the beauty of football. You just never know. We'll have to wait and see. But if Goff ends up not being the guy in Detroit, Trey Lance is right there.
Right. So yeah, Atlanta in a normal circumstance, I trade down. Detroit takes Trey Lance, and then Atlanta can get Kyle Pitts at number 7. But in this, I don't have trades. With the number 5 pick, the Cincinnati Bengals will select Penny Sewell. I hope they do. Miami, this could be a trade down opportunity because Trey Lance is there. Detroit would get Lance in their lap. But I think they go Jamar Chase. It's a wide receiver 1A, wide receiver 1B. He and Devontae Smith. Smith is slowly dropping down draft boards. Chase is slowly rising. I think Chase gets the nod here. He would be fantastic with Tua. With the number 7 pick, I said the Lions would trade up. If they stay put at 7, it's not a guarantee that they would take Trey Lance. But this is a spot where you look at Trey Lance, you look at Micah Parsons, you look at maybe Surtain, although I think they still like Okudah. You look at the wide receivers. Remember, they don't have much. But if this is a punt year, you take Trey Lance. If this is we're going all in on this Jared Goff guy, you take Waddle or Devontae Smith. I think they're going to punt it and look to move forward with a new quarterback. They'll go Trey Lance.
Yeah, that's kind of again what I just said. Like it's more likely than not. Like again, if Goff works out, he works out. But if it's more than likely, I think a lot of people don't really think it's going to work out. Lions are probably just going to let rebuild smart. They're going to let Goff's deal play out and then just work from there.
All right, so we go to Carolina, and Carolina is in a bad spot here. They couldn't trade up. They couldn't snag a Lance. Again, they probably trade up to 6 to get Lance, but they couldn't trade up. So now you're in an awkward spot. So I think you do the right thing and you start building for your quarterback of the future, and you take Rashawn Slater. You can play him at guard, you can play him at tackle. Either one works. You have Taylor Moton at right tackle already. So I think Slater would be a great pick. Now this is one of my favorite picks of the draft. This is one that I think is a little bit out of left field, and maybe not everyone's on board with it. But I had mocked Patrick Surtain to Denver in every single mock that I did. It was always number 9 Surtain, number 10 Caleb Farley. Well, we're going to slide down a little bit here and a little bit more to Mr. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He is a fantastic scheme fit in the Fangio defense. He is a guy that, as a linebacker, can play slot corner. He is Isaiah Simmons without the big name.
Okay.
Might even be better than Isaiah Simmons. Maybe not quite the athlete, but the football talent is there. So this gives this gives Dallas, hey, you have Surtain, you have Horn, you have friend of the show, Caleb Farley, who's all the way down at 29. And I think they take Farley. I think they see things in Trevon Diggs, and they want a guy with some athleticism. I don't want to say Surtain's a bad athlete, but I think he's more of a technician than an athlete. And I think in the Dan Quinn cover 3, you want an athlete who can also play very well at corner. So Caleb Farley goes at 10. So the Giants here at 11, again, interesting spot. There's no Kyle Pitts. That would have been like the trump card. And even here, you can't screw over the Eagles, who are one spot behind you. So you can't take both Waddle and Smith. And even if you could take both, the Eagles would land Surtain at 12, which either way you look at it is really good.
Honestly.
So I think I don't think they go any of the Alabama guys. I think they lean Micah Parsons here. Bolster the defense a little bit. I think they like what they have in Jones. They like what they have in Golladay. They like what they have offensively. And I think they add a little bit of defense.
Can you imagine, though, how strong of a defense that would be if they took Surtain with Adoree Jackson? That'd be pretty strong.
That'd be gnarly. And now Philadelphia, guess what? You could have got Waddle at 6, Surtain at 6, Smith at 6. All of them are here at 12. I think they would go Devontae Smith at 12. But either way, either one's a star. The Chargers, this is a team that I commonly have trading their first-round pick for Orlando Brown, or maybe a pick swap, and the 13th overall pick ends up in Baltimore's hands. But if they don't do that, I think they go offensive tackle, and I believe they take Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech with the Minnesota Vikings. I have them also sticking on the offensive line, Elijah Vera Tucker out of the University of Southern California. Now, we have New England. You see, the team needs a quarterback. I don't think they need a quarterback. I like Cam. I think Cam can, do what he needs to do. And, and this is a part of the draft where if you take Mac Jones at 15, 19, or 20, you're making the fan base mad. I don't think anyone actually wants Mac Jones on their football team, which I guess I understand. And I frankly don't believe any of those 3 teams are perfect fits for Jones. I think Jones would be a great fit in, say, New Orleans or even Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh is in a position to draft a quarterback, but New Orleans, I think New Orleans could lean with Jameis, but actually,
I want Jameis in New Orleans to be the starter.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think New England says we want another receiver. They drafted a bunch. They drafted a bunch. They added some in free agency. They added Aguilar. They added one more. They added 2 tight ends. I I think you just add some juice. You add Jalen Waddle. Number 16, we talked about it earlier, J.C. Horn to the Cardinals. Even with Surtain on the board, which I think is a little but I think it happens. The Raiders have had a total just bomb go off in their offensive line room. So I don't know what the heck they're doing. I think they go tackle, and I'm liking Jenkins. I like Cosme. I like a lot of these guys. I think they go Sam Cosme at 17. Miami, they take the other one, Tevin Jenkins, put him at right tackle, move Hunt into right guard. All right. Now we are back with the Washington football team. This is a Mac Jones potential place. This is a even though they did bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though they have Tyler Heineke, but I don't think they take Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones continues to slip, and this is where you go get Rashad Bateman.
See, I feel like – go ahead.
Yeah. You add a weapon. You add Curtis Samuel. Now you have a three-headed monster wide receiver, and then you throw in Antonio Gibson, and then you throw in a competent tight end in Logan Thomas. You have 5 stars on the field.
Sure. I just kind of feel as though there's a little bit of QB instability right now with Washington. Like
that's fair.
You're not really sure if Taylor Heineke, like he had a beautiful playoff game, but you're not sure if is that something he can consistently do throughout a 17-game season, or it's the same thing with Fitzpatrick. Like Fitzpatrick, he pulls some awesome games out of his ass, but is he going to be able to? He's been one of the most inconsistent QBs I think we've ever seen.
Right.
And it's like we've seen with good teams, quarterback consistency is so important because it can make or break your offense. No matter how many good pieces you have, if your quarterback's not playing well, not going to be great. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
You will.
But I feel like if it's not Bateman, it could be Mac Jones going there.
I think that's absolutely fair. And I think Mac Jones will end up with the Chicago Bears at 20.
Okay. That's another good one, I feel like.
I think they're a trade up contender. I know they've got Andy Dalton, but I don't believe they think Andy Dalton is a long-term answer. And you get Mac Jones, you still have Allen Robinson, you still have David Montgomery, you have Darnell Mooney, you have a lot of talented players. Now the Colts, they need a left tackle, but Patrick Surtain's just chilling here. He's just chilling here. And Tennessee might like a corner. They don't have a Dory. They don't have Malcolm Butler. Logan Ryan left last year. You might want to position yourself and not let Surtain fall to your division rival. And we look at the offensive tackle board. I like Mayfield. I like Eichenberg. I like all these guys, really. You can get them at the top of the second round, I think. I don't think a lot of these teams don't necessarily need a tackle right now. So you take Patrick Surtain, the best player on the board. You take a top 10 player at 21, absolutely. As we see, number one need, cornerback. So Tennessee throws their arms up in the air and they just draft Azeez Ojulari, strengthen that pass rush. I know they got Dupree, but they need more help. They were, I believe, 31st in sacks, and it was a struggle. So I think they take Ojulari here. Our favorite New York Jets, they're a team that probably takes Surtain at 23. Of course, he's no longer there. They're a team that could go after edge here. They can go after interior offensive line. I like either of those options. So we can I'm really liking maybe Greg Rousseau here. Elijah Moore is a talented wide receiver. But I'm looking Creed Humphrey, Wyatt Davis, Landon Dickerson. I guess I could have sorted by offensive interior. But Quinn Miners as well. He could be a second-round pick. I think this is where you go get a center. You get a blue chipper, Creed Humphrey. Pittsburgh, this is the easiest pick to me. Like, I'm not a big fan of drafting running backs in the first round unless the value and you need a superstar. That's the only hole. Pittsburgh is certainly not their only hole. I think they could use a quarterback here, but Najee Harris can win them a Super Bowl.
Sure.
Like, if Pittsburgh is a team that I can argue they're one player away, and that one player is Najee Harris. If they take any other player in the draft class, I'm lowering their Super Bowl odds down to 0. Najee Harris, they have a shot. Jacksonville, this is a prime trade down spot. If a team needs a not a quarterback, but maybe an offensive tackle. You like Kwity Paye, you like ETN, you like Phillips, Owe, whomever. But I think Jacksonville is going to go make a sneaky move and add Pat Freiermuth, get a weapon for Trevor Lawrence. Cleveland. Definitely. I've been on the Zaven Collins to Cleveland bandwagon the entire offseason. I don't know if it happens. I think they might bring in Clowney, so I don't think they're going to necessarily need an edge. They've strengthened the defensive backfield very much. They don't really have any holes on offense. So I think we're going to go back to the Zaven Collins well. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Now we move on to my beloved Baltimore Ravens. Kwity Paye is an option here. Trevon Moehrig is an option here. Jalen Phillips, Jason Owe. I could slide down, but I think at this point, if the draft fell like this, I think they would take Moehrig. I think on their board, he's probably the most surefire thing. Kwity Paye only had 1 year of production at Michigan. I would take Moehrig here. Saints, I would love Mac Jones to fall here, but obviously he didn't. But you know where they might go? They might go corner. Marshawn Lattimore's had some legal issues, and they need a corner. They need to add another guy to that defense. Greg Newsome, phenomenal corner out of Northwestern, had a lockdown year in the Big Ten. Roll with him there. Offensive tackle is a spot of need for the Packers, and this is a Jalen Mayfield. This is a pretty easy pick to me, Jalen Mayfield. The Bills are in a weird spot. They have a very talented roster. The one spot they really can upgrade is probably running back. Travis Etienne is on the board here. Javonte Williams is on the board here. They also have some edges and corners. So any spot you need, they can actually add a guy. But I think this is an interesting spot. Go take Travis Etienne. You want that offense to be as explosive as humanly possible. The defense is competent enough. You have Tre'Davious White. You have Matt Milano. It's competent enough. And I think Travis Etienne is a solid pick there. Kansas City, they brought in Joe Thuney, but they need more. They need more offensive line. The interior guys here, Davis, Dickerson, Trey Smith, those are guys that I could see going in the first round. Eichenberg, Radens. I think they pulled the trigger here on Dylan Radens, the left tackle out of North Dakota State. And then with the 32nd pick, Tampa is bringing back all 22 of their starters from a Super Bowl roster. That's the first.
Yeah, that is absurd, honestly, to think about how they've all 22 starters are coming back.
There are no holes on this roster. The only holes I can see, you maybe want to upgrade at guard, maybe left tackle. It's
whatever you're doing here. It's a depth pick.
This is you are taking the guy that you believe is the best player left. You're taking the guy that can be a superstar. It's not Paye. It's not Javonte Williams. It's not Phillips or Owe. It's Christian Barmore out of Alabama. And Barmore is an exceptional talent, an exceptional pass rusher. He came on really strong down the stretch. He might be better than Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams was the number 3 pick. Just Quinnen put it all together for a season. Barmore put it together when it mattered in the college football playoff. So I'm just going to run through this real quick, and we're going to wrap up the show in a few minutes. Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Pitts, Sewell, Chase, Lance, Slater, Owusu-Formella, Farley, Parsons, Smith, Darisaw, Avera Tucker, Waddle, Horn, Cosme, Jenkins, Bateman, Jones, Surtain, Ojolari, Humphrey, Harris, Freiermuth, Collins, Moehrig, Newsome, Mayfield, Etienne, then Radens, and Barmore.
All right, then. What do you say we end up with some hot takes?
All right. I don't think we have too many today, but I can pull up the good old hot take-o-meter real quick. So if you can find some hot takes on the app, I will pull up the hot take-o-meter and we can have some joyous hot takes. All right. We got the hot take-o-meter up, ladies and gentlemen. Drop your comments in the chat if you have any, because we can answer them right now, All right, let's check it out.
Yeah, not too many here.
Okay, here we go. First one. Karl Anthony Towns, gets traded to the Knicks next year.
Mm.
Hmm.
What do you
I don't
think?
know. I mean, the idea of trading Towns, I don't think is that hot of a take. To the Knicks specifically, maybe. I don't know. I think it's hard to like mix and match the player and the team. So that I'm probably putting in like Scotch Bonnet, Cayenne level, like working up a little bit, you know. But at the end of the day, I think Towns might get traded, and the Knicks would be a solid destination. So probably Cayenne.
Okay. It's about where I'm at, honestly. Didn't really get a lot of hot takes this week, honestly.
No. Let's see. Let's just scroll through the app and see if there's anything we want to point out. Because I want to go back to the Sammy Watkins signing. So the first one, this is from Bam Bam. The Ravens are the favorites to win the AFC now. This is Carolina Reaper. The Ravens cannot be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Carolina Reaper. They can't beat the Chiefs, and if the Bills beat the Chiefs, then they can't. I don't think they can beat the Bills. But yeah, Kansas City has just they're the perennial favorites now. It seems.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really know. So it happens. It happens. Yeah, I think that's going to be all for today. We wanted to do some baseball talk, but we're approaching an hour. I think both of us can talk for a little while about baseball. So we're deciding between like a 55-minute show that's maybe a little short versus an hour and a half, 2-hour show, because I just had a 3,200 word American League preview. Actually, you can check that out. So if you want my baseball content, I post it on Overtime Heroics. Just search Overtime Heroics Ryan Potts, and I have tons of baseball content up. And if you have any questions for either Jack or I, you can post on the app. I'm at Splash. Jack is at Jack Mitchell, as you might have guessed. And if you remember the introduction, we do have a comment. Let's see what that is. Carolina has a chance of winning the division. You can take this first, Jack.
Carolina Reaper. Carolina Reaper. That's all I gotta say. I mean, you got they're in the same division as the Bucks and the Saints.
I mean, I want to say Carolina Reaper just for the jokes, but I don't dislike what Carolina does.
Well, sure.
I just don't really trust Teddy Bridgewater. Like, I've been a big Bridgewater fan, but that's because I think I think he's better than people think he is, but he's not. I don't think he's a division-winning caliber quarterback, especially with the roster they have. So I would probably lean Carolina Reaper there.
And then he's going up against some guy named Tom Brady. So
So and Jameis Winston. Oh my goodness, I can't.
No longer Drew Brees.
I can't wait to watch Jameis Winston.
That'll be fun.
I'm very excited. If they start Taysom Hill, I think that's a sad day. I think that's a sad day for quarterback play. I don't dislike Taysom Hill, but Jameis is really special when it clicks. He's one of the guys that he's on. There's like, I think of quarterback play as a 0 to 100 scale. So take someone like Mahomes. He has some really suspect plays, but he has some truly awe-inspiring plays. So he's like 20 to 100, right? So he's not going to be terrible, but he's going to be consistently great, and he can be unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers might be like 50 to 100. Lamar Jackson like 10 to 90, right? Jameis Winston might be the worst quarterback in the NFL some games, but he can be the best quarterback in the history of professional, organized, anything. He is that special sometimes. He's like a 0 to a 101. So I really do want to see Jameis get a shot as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Jameis, play consistently.
Yeah,
we've said it before with other QBs.
Please play 50 overall.
Don't be the 30 touchdown, 30 interception guy. Just be the 30 touchdown, 5 interception guy or something.
Be 25 and 10, even 27 and 12. At least maybe 2 to 1 touchdown interception ratio. Progress. That's all that matters. You have a really talented. You have Michael Thomas. You've got Traquan Smith. He's still there. You have Sean Payton. You have Alvin Kamara. You have Adam Troutman.
He had a six.
we
He
need
had
to-
he had a 6 TD game last year, Alvin Kamara. So,
although granted that a lot of that was from the offensive line. Let's be real here.
well, still,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think touchdowns are misleading. Especially
yeah,
rushing touchdowns.
because I think some of them were like from the 1 or something like that. So,
Like if I remember correctly, I don't think he was touched before the line of scrimmage on any of his runs.
Jesus,
Any of
yeah,
his
that's
touchdowns.
O-line credit then for sure.
Yeah. So shout out to the Saints O-line. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to the Watt viewers. Make sure you slam that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you're watching on Periscope. Rest in peace in 5 days, I guess. Follow the @U.
Are they killing Periscope?
Yeah, they're killing Periscope.
Oh
March
my
31st,
God, I didn't know that.
2021. It's shocking. Follow us on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook because I'm sure negative people are watching on my stream. I have 0 people watching from my specific Facebook or my specific Periscope. You know what? That's cool.
I don't even use Facebook, so there you go.
It happens. So let's get out of here, Jack.
All right. Peace, guys. Thanks for watching.